You are tapped in with Caden. Hey, listen, I want to give a shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you. Subscribe, hit the like button. We're talking about Ben Shalom thinks Fabio Wardley's custom gloves gave him an unfair advantage. Let's listen to what Ben Shalom had to say, and then we'll discuss it. So this is Ben Shalom's opinion about Fabio Wardley's gloves.
A vicious punch. We'll look at what the glove situation was there. I won't get too much into it, but there was a lot of talk during the week as to the gloves that were being worn by Fabio Wardley. The doctor said to me, there's no way in hell any boxing glove should be able to have that level of damage. But it was a clinical end to the fight by Fabio Wardley. But as I say, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing. Frazer will learn for it, and he's got a massive career ahead.
And you mentioned the glove situation there. So is that something of the...
So quickly, you heard what he said. The doctor said there's no way a glove should be able to cause that type of damage. So the fine line is Ben Shalom isn't saying that the gloves weren't approved by the Board of British Boxing Control or the British Board of Boxing Control, however you say it. What he's saying is they're approving gloves that cause damage that that shouldn't be allowed to happen. So you probably should revisit the standard of for the gloves that you're approving, meaning that there probably should be stricter guidelines on the gloves that you approve, because he's saying that someone wearing a boxing glove shouldn't be able to cause that type of damage. All right, so let's continue.
The gloves themselves going to be looked at and reviewed? Is that something that you've asked for?
Yes, it's something that we are looking at very carefully at the moment with our team. Not just for Big Frazer's sake, but these customized gloves that are starting to get introduced. The word customized, the fact that they're different, you've got to look at it. And as I say, I'm not going to get too much into it because it's an ongoing process. But during the week, we were warned repeatedly by Frazer's team around what gloves could be being used, and that's no excuse. Frazer lost the fight fair and square. It's the damage that can cause, and that will have to be looked at. But that was caused.
So you heard what he said. It's not the reason Frazer lost the fight; it's the damage that it caused. Well, if the gloves that were being approved caused more damage than should be allowed, more damage than or a better way to put it is, if the gloves were so dangerous they never should have been approved for use and they're too dangerous to be worn, then in essence you are saying that the gloves played a role in Fabio Wardley winning, because if he was wearing gloves that were fair and on the up and up, then he wouldn't have put the dent in Frazer Clarke's face, and Frazer Clarke probably would have been able to take that punch and continue fighting. So we're going to take a look at Frazer Clarke and the damage that was done. Now, I'm not certain if this photo is altered. I don't believe that it is. I don't have reason to believe that it is. I saw the dent appear instantaneously, like seconds after Fabio Wardley landed the vicious right hand. I could see the dent on my television. And so you can see right here the dent in the side of his face. And so again, what Ben Shalom is saying is, even if the commission approved the gloves, the customized gloves that Fabio Wardley was wearing, the gloves were too dangerous based on the damage that they caused. The doctor says no boxing gloves should be allowed to cause this type of damage. Therefore, the commission needs to reassess and reevaluate the type of gloves they're approving to be worn during a sanctioned fight. So basically, that's what he's saying. So he's saying he's not accusing Fabio Wardley of cheating. He's not accusing Fabio Wardley of wearing gloves that were loaded or Fabio Wardley of any wrongdoing. What he's saying is the standard that's currently in place allows fighters to wear gloves that are extremely dangerous and could cause serious harm to fighters, like what happened to Frazer Clarke. So That's his position. Now, Frank Warren spoke about this on Talk Sport, and Frank Warren obviously wasn't too happy about what Ben Shalom had to say. Let's listen to what Frank Warren had to say, and then I'll give you my take.
No, he hasn't. First of all, let's look. The situation is that all gloves and manufacturers have to be approved by the British Boxing and Border Control, and the ones that are approved are on a list which is on the website of the Boxing Border Control for everybody to see. Fly is an approved glove. Gloves, and the procedure is before a fight. The gloves are inspected by the British Boxing Border Control at the rules meetings, and then they are retained by an official until handed to the boxer in the dressing room, where there is a British Boxing Border Control inspector who is ever present until the fight takes place.
All right, so you heard Frank Warren said he was wearing Fly, which Fly is a popular brand, especially in the UK. I see a lot of UK fighters wearing Fly gloves. And, you know, it can be pun intended if you want, but yeah. So Fly is a very popular brand, especially in the UK. So I've seen fighters wear Fly gloves before. So Ben Shalom is saying these custom gloves where you've seen, think of Terrence Bud Crawford versus David Avanesian, right? His glove popped. You saw the glove had popped. It was a customized glove from Everlast. God rest G. So he used to call Everlast Neverlast, like, because the gloves never last. But the glove was popping and ripping from the seam, and that caused a lot of controversy because people were saying, why didn't they stop the fight and make Terrence Crawford change his gloves? I'm one of those people, excuse me, who feel like they should have stopped the fight and made Terrence Crawford change his glove just for safety purposes and just for the impression of being impartial, especially because the fight was in Nebraska, his hometown. But anyways, getting back to this though. So you heard what he said. It was Fly gloves, customized, everything. Now he gets to the point where they pick the gloves. It's given to the British Border Boxing Control. They hold the gloves. They inspect the gloves. They're watching the gloves. Let's listen.
The gloves are checked and signed off. That what happens then? The fighter's hands are wrapped. The inspector signs the wrapping, and then the gloves are put on, and then the lace part of the gloves are normally then taped up, and then the inspector will sign off on that. And then again, when they're in the ring, the referee, if you notice before fights, he also checks the gloves prior to the contest commencing. No boxer can have possession or supply his own gloves. They must be sent by the manufacturer to the promoter in a sealed packaging, which was the case here. And you're wrong in saying that Shalom was the promoter there. He wasn't the promoter. The promoter of the event was Queensbury on behalf of Riyadh Season and in conjunction with Seller. His fighters fought on the bill. The contracts that were signed were with Queensbury, and that dealt with glove issues, etc., in those contracts.
So what does he mean by customized gloves, Frank?
Well, let me finish and I'll tell you. Any boxer's camp can inspect the other boxer's choice of gloves and make an objection if they wish.
Yeah.
Brick top. You see the brick tops coming out. And Frank, you can see it's coming out. Listen.
Frazer camp checked at the rules meeting. They said he didn't like Flies, but Robert Smith said they're approved gloves and Frazer could wear them if he wished. He's saying, Shalom, that prior to the fight, all these issues, correct me if I'm wrong, he said something like there was a big concern about them. He didn't even attend the rules meeting. Why didn't he attend the rules meeting if he had that concern? If he was so concerned, he, as his representative, could have been there, but he didn't attend. Pure nonsense.
Frank, what I can tell you is we've asked Ben Shalom to join us this morning. We have had no word back from him.
Well, you won't get any word back because he's made a rick, hasn't he? And the problem he's got now, what he said is libelous.
I was going to ask you that question.
Because let me tell you why. First of all, I am the promoter of that event. It was a British Boxing Border Control event. It was the licensed promoter. So what he's saying is that the gloves were not correct. That's what he's alleging, and that is libelous. The manufacturers of the gloves, I'm sure they're going to take that.
Now it says lightless, I believe, is what it said in the caption, but what he's saying is libelous, I believe, like libel, like spreading misinformation about him that could significantly impact his brand and his ability to do business. And so again, he's saying it's libelous because like saying libel, and he can sue him because again, he's essentially spreading misinformation that could hurt his reputation in his business moving forward. So, and he, of course, he's saying it's not true. I just want to jump in, and this is why I've been stating this from the beginning. When I hear Ben Shalom speaking, I don't hear him saying that protocol wasn't followed. I don't hear him saying that they cheated, that they didn't get the gloves approved, that they didn't turn the gloves over to the British Board of Boxing Control, that they weren't signed off on, that people didn't observe Fabio Wardley's hand being wrapped. I think he concedes that things were done by the book. What I hear Ben Shalom saying is the practice of allowing custom gloves to be worn needs to be stricter. Like they need stricter guidelines on which gloves get approved, because the damage that Frazer Clarke suffered during that fight isn't the type of damage that should happen when someone is wearing a boxing glove. That's what I hear Ben Shalom saying. So I get Frank's frustration, but I don't think he's accusing Frank of any wrongdoing or any funny business. I think he's talking about the practice as a whole needs to be revamped. All right, but let me allow you to finish hearing what Frank Warren said.
Up with him. I know for a fact they will take it up with him, because he is, and the guy who runs that company is a nice young fella, entrepreneurial, built a business from scratch. And what he's saying is totally out of order and wrong. And it's and as to say it's an investigation, you heard what the Board of Control said. How's he investigating anything? He doesn't even have the gloves. I mean, what is he? Think what Clouseau? Does he think he's Inspector Clouseau, or in each case Inspector Clueless? I mean, the man
bricked up. Get him bricked up.
And a complete and utter idiot to even be going down this road. It's a poor excuse for what was a legitimate win. And I'm sure that Fabio wore those gloves in his previous fight. And the irony of all this is, I understand tomorrow night Adam Azim, who's fighting on his bill, wears fly gloves. What planet is this guy on?
Could Fabio not have some legal recompense
Everybody
as well?
concerned has. The allegation is unfounded, it's untrue, it's stupid, naive, and it's like clutching at straws for a defeat.
Because isn't he effectively calling your man a cheat?
Like, if you're saying that you're wearing gloves and he's hearing the gloves are dodgy, I mean, you heard it. That is exactly what you're saying. Is what people think.
That's the part where I agree. You can say you're not challenging the process. You're saying they went through the process correctly, but in the end, you are alleging that the gloves he wore should never have been approved, were too dangerous to be worn in a professional sanctioned boxing match, and cause serious significant damage to your fighter. So indirectly, inadvertently, however you want to look at it or spin it, you are saying that he cheated to win. Now, you're not flat out saying that he cheated, because you're not challenging the protocol. But at the end of the day, what you are saying is, in fact, his victory was due to wearing gloves that never should have been approved. So that is what I give Frank. Although the way he's saying it and the way he's phrasing it is more about the glove being approved and not necessarily that Fabio Wardley did something wrong by wearing the glove. So it's very slick what's taking place right now.
And it's outrageous. It aggravates me that we've had a great show there, go through all this, fabulous win for Fabio. There are winners and losers in boxing. Take the loss as what it was. I mean, it wasn't like it was an inconclusive or a debatable decision with judges. I mean, it was a brutal knockout. End of story. Yeah. And the one person who's not complained is Frazer. Frank, a word from him.
Frank, that's what I was going to say. I think that's my frustration with it. Both the lads, before and after the fight, impeccable in their approach, and took it like men when they won and when they lost.
So I'm gonna end it here in terms of going to video, and I'll just give you my wrap up, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible. The fighters not having anything are not having any dispute about it, taking their loss on the chin. One, they're fighters, but two, they can't make us think. What would happen if Frazer Clarke just started screaming, "Oh, I feel like I was cheated, the gloves," everyone would be clowning him and ridiculing him. So he can't do that. So it's up to his promoter, his protector, to do that. And even if Frazer Clarke didn't want to make a stink about it, if Ben Shalom legitimately believes that there's something wrong with the process, he should speak up. Now, this can be settled very easily. And you heard Frank Warren said they don't have the glove. They don't even have the glove. Well, they don't really need the glove that Fabio Wardley wore. They just need the type. They just need them to recreate the glove or give them that type of glove and then do a comparison. So again, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking about the customized glove, particularly when you look at what the end result. The end result was this man having a dent in his face. How many fights have you watched in the sport of boxing? How many times have you seen someone immediately upon impact have a dent in their face? So it's almost like he would be negligent not to bring this up and to speak about it. So again, where I have respect for Frank and I understand Frank's position, I tend to lean more with Ben Shalom on this, only because one, there was somewhat of an uncommon result. As a result of that fight, you saw Frazer Clarke suffer damage. So it's easier to accept if you go through this investigation and it reveals that the gloves were fine, everything was fine. So now you're like, okay, I did my due diligence. So I see nothing wrong with it. Basically what they need to do is compare the customized gloves, because you notice Frank is slick. You saw how he weaseled his way out of answering what's a customized glove. He said, wait, let me finish saying what I got to say. I'm curious to know more about these customized gloves. How are they customized? What is it that they customize exactly? And then again, compare a customized glove to a traditional prototypical glove that's basically allowed and approved for combat in boxing. Because then when you look at the difference, you may see that allowing this type of customization to a glove creates certain risks that the prototypical boxing glove that was approved or intended to be improved for the sport of boxing would not have. So all in the safety of boxing. To me, this is no different than the NFL looking at helmets. You know, boxing gloves throughout the history of the sport have always evolved and changed. As you look at the gloves they were wearing back in Jack Johnson days, then go to the Muhammad Ali days, to the gloves they're wearing now. It's the evolution of boxing gloves is ever changing. So again, I don't really see anything wrong with what Ben Shalom said. Again, I don't think he should have voiced that publicly. The way he said it could imply Fabio Wardley cheated and make it look like Frank Warren and so I do get why Frank Warren is upset. But again, I see nothing wrong with him wanting to make sure that the fight was on the up and up, and also wanting to set forth a procedure that makes sure that these customized gloves that are being approved, particularly by Fly, are in the best interest of should be allowed to continue to be approved, because he's concerned for the safety of the fighters. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. I appreciate you watching this video. You can hit the like button. I'm out. Peace.